I've got her strapped on. I've got her strapped on. And we're just gonna go with it. That's not sketchy at all. Hey, what's going on, folks? Bienvenue. My name is Wade, and this is Sabine River Valley. Today, we're gonna work on finishing up the transfer tank. So, I've done a few things on it, and I'll kind of go over that, but I want to secure it to the trailer. The straps, you know, I'm just not comfortable doing that, but even though it does have an area to strap it, but going down the road, I don't like that idea. So I've got a solution here, and we're gonna go through it. So let's get to work. So I've got me some steel here that I'm going to use as brackets for the side of this, and I've got an idea in my head how I want to do this. So there are grooves in the side of this thing, and you can see here that the ones on the side are larger than the ones on the back and the front. The ones on the back and the front, they correlate also with where the forks can slide under this and lift this up. The ones on the sides, the only thing I can think of that they would be there for is to actually use to do some type of mounting system for it. So I don't know, but that's what I'm going to use it for. So I'm going to take these plates and I'm going to fasten them to the trailer, but I'm going to do a bend, and I actually bought me a 20-ton press. I have wanted one of these for so long, and I finally gave in and got it. Harbor Freight had a parking lot sale a couple of weeks ago, and they had this for a little bit less. I think like 50 bucks off, something like that, from the normal price. And that's usually what it goes for when it goes on sale, is like $1.99. So they had this on there. So I bought this, but I also bought the press brake that they have that, you know, can go along with it. So it's a 12-inch press brake that you can put on here. So I'm going to do some bends on this. I'm going to cut these down to size, then do some bends on it. Then we'll mount it to the trailer and we'll push it up against the tank so that it can, you know, kind of, what do you want to call that? You know, it can kind of be a, you know, the tank can sit in between them. I don't know what else to say. Sometimes when you're doing this live on camera, words just don't come. The words, they're in there, but you know, it's hard to get them to come out of the mouth. But anyway, so I'm gonna, have this sit between those on there, but I've kind of figured out how I want to do the top to kind of fasten it to the top. And here, I'll show you that real quick. So my plan is right here. I've got a gap where the door kind of comes down. There's a gap here, and it's real small, but I figured an 1/8 inch piece of steel would fit down in there. So what I plan on doing is doing a couple bends. And I'm gonna bend this steel so it sits down in there. So on two sides of this thing, I will have two plates that stick down in here, that bend over, and then that come down the side here. And I'm thinking maybe some all thread. What I'll do is I'll have the bracket at the bottom that bends up. I'll have them also do another bend out, and I'll have a hole on that top bend. And then when this comes over and comes down, I'll have it bend out one more time, and I'll have a hole on it, and I'll take all thread and I'll bolt that in from both sides to where that's good and tight on there, and it'll pull this down. So this will, not only will it be secured from the sides from moving back and forth, but it'll also be secured from the top, pulled down. And when this is loaded full of fuel, I'm not worried about, I'm not worried about this thing bouncing out of those, between those, right? When it's loaded full of fuel. But, when I'm going to fill it up, then that's the time that it could, it could hit a good bump or something. It could, fly up or something like that. I don't know, but I would just like to try to secure it that way. That's my idea. I've never done, I've seen other people do bending. I've been in the room whenever someone else, bends steel like this for a project, and I've never done it myself, but I'm thinking that this is going to work. I don't know for sure, but this is my idea, and we'll see. I'm going to go with it and try it out, and we'll see if it does work. So anyway, I guess let's do some measuring, and then we'll figure out what these need to be. I need to make sure that this is centered as much as possible, and then we'll make the side brackets and get them cut out, and then we'll do the bends. So anyway, we'll start with that. All right, so I think I have these, I think I have it centered as best as possible. And what I've come up with is that I can get close to the edge all the way around. I'm right at about 7 3/4. So 7 3/4 on everywhere around there. So I think that's what I'm going to do, is plan on doing 7 3/4 all the way around. And I have 6-inch wide steel for this. What I need to know is, so if I'm doing 7 3/4, I want to go up as high as I can on this, but I want to make sure I have enough material, because I've also got this little, funky thing I'm going to try to do up here. 5 inches, so an extra 5 inches. Yeah, I'd say 1.5 inches. Let's just do 1.5 inches there. I would say 4.5 inches. 6 inches, so that's a foot, so that's 12. With 3, so we want 3 inches. 15 inches. So I should probably be writing this down. We'll do 7 3/4, 20 3/4. So 0.25, 20.75, 41.5. Then we have 25, 51. So, all right. Was that confusing for everyone else? Because I'm confused. See, the reason that I broke them down separately is so I'll know what to cut and then what to bend. So, I don't know. All right, here we go. You see this? Put a hole in my pocket. Flame retardant my... Oh, I just bill danced my knee. Oh. Oh, praise and worship. Praise and worship. All right. Whew, this isn't so much fun when you're in pain. Whew. Man. Inches. All right, so I got the brake put together. It was real simple. There wasn't anything, hard to do with it. So, but man, that sucker was covered in oil. It was just covered. I don't know why you would throw that much oil on some metal. That just, I don't know. Man. But anyway, we'll get working. All right, here we go. First bend. It didn't need much, so. So it could still probably bend over just a little, but that's really close. Let's take a look at this. So, ooh, too tall. Interesting. So I'm gonna have to cut. So I measured to there, but I didn't take into account the angle that went at. So let's look at where I need to cut this. Come down to about here. One of those. Let me think about that. I think that would be fine though. Let's see what I'm taking off. So if I took about 3 inches off that, so I'm at 13. So if I could just did 10 up, I think that would be fine. So I think that's what I'm going to do real quick. Let me cut that off real quick. Okay, I have no clue what I'm doing, but I'm going to try it anyway. I have got a plasma cutter here. So that grinding wheel was getting old. So I'm going to try and do this with a plasma cutter. So maybe, if you're watching this and you use a plasma cutter often, maybe you could give me some tips on this. But what I've done is I put me a bar up here. I wish this was a little bit shorter, but that's what I got. I've centered where down the gun where that would be. So if I hold this straight up and go down, I should be over that line right there. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try it. So we'll see. Hey, look at that. pretty. And smoke alarms are on. All right, so an update on where I'm at. I've got this fit in here, and I've got both bends on this. And then, you know, I've got the one in the back that only needs one bend. This one I was pretty much able to do most of the bend, the second one, but then I just put it in the press and actually got creative and pressed it down. It was almost 90 degrees, and I was able to get it to 90 degrees, this one also. So and then, you know, I've got the one on the back. So the plasma cutter has been phenomenal. So plasma cutter has worked great. That's the best for cutting metal quickly. My smoke alarm does not like it, however. So that has gone off each time I have used that. And I've put a fan over there to try to blow the air coming towards the smoke alarm away from it. And it still hasn't helped. So every time I use it, the smoke alarm comes on. So I have to go try to get that to go off. So anyway. But yeah, so getting there, it's, you know, it's a little bit more work than I realized it was going to be, but I always do that to myself. So, but I do want it right, and, you know, I just don't want to have to worry about this thing coming off the trailer when I've got it full of fuel, right? So anyway, all right, well, I'm going to get back to it and, yeah, try to get this knocked out. All right, so I've got the brackets on, and I've got them loosely, you know, I've just got some bolts in there, but I've got different bolts for this than that, and I hope they work because they're not all thread, and that, I don't know, that seemed to be hard to find, just some all thread bolts like that. But I also have, right, the bracket here on the top done. And then, so let me talk about what I'm going to do with this. So the plan is to drill a hole through both of these and put this all thread through, and then tighten it down from both sides to have a, you know, to pull this down. So to keep this from bouncing up and down. Now, I think this is going to work out great, but on the, you know, on these, I only have the two front, they're going through the frame of the trailer. So I only have the two front bolts in here on the front of it, but for this on this side, now this isn't tightened down at all, so it's going to move. But I'm thinking for this on this side, I might go ahead and put two more in on each side of that. So when it pulls up, it's, you know, it's, when it pulls on it, it's not just pulling on the front two. It's actually, you know, it's more secure. So I'm thinking that I might do that. I'm gonna have to drill that up from the bottom just because of the angle. I'm not gonna be able to get my drill in there. But anyway, that is I think that's the plan. So I guess let's get started with that. All right. See if I can do this blind. Oh, no. Dropped it. There we go. All right. And I am wearing safety glasses for this. All right. How'd that do? Oh yeah, look at that. That's perfect. Look at that. All right. All right, so I'm gonna take a tool here and try to get some of this rust off. Okay, I've got them unrusted. I don't know. I got the rust off and I used a degreaser. I don't know if that's what you're supposed to use. I have some acetone somewhere, but I cannot find it. But I just used some degreaser and went over all of it and then, you know, made sure that it was all good and dry off of there. So I don't know if that's going to mess this up or not. But I mean, again, got to remember who this is for. So I've got some green Krylon here that I got from my local Napa store. I'm going with green because, you know, I'm going to put it on this diesel transfer tank. And again, remember, anyone selling these things from another country, in America, green is diesel. Green or yellow. We'll use yellow also. Red is for gasoline. It is very bad if you mix those two up. If there's anything, stop selling red tanks as diesel tanks. Go all gray. Do all gray or all black. Just stop promoting the red ones as diesel tanks. So anyway, green, and I don't know, I might have to go get another can, I'm not sure. Listen, I absolutely just detest painting. It's because I'm terrible at it. Maybe if I took the time to figure it out, I don't know. But I'm just so bad at it that it's just not my favorite thing to do. But I did get my paint booth set up. And, you know, I got me a little tarp down for some overspray. You know, you might think that I did that because I'm smart, but it's really because I don't want to get murdered by my wife. So anyway, we're going to get some paint on these real quick, and yeah, hopefully it looks good. So let's go. right, so right now we've got 2 coats of paint on these, and they look pretty good. I haven't seen any major runs. I think I might have one on the back of one of these. I'm not sure, but I mean, yeah, they've done pretty good. So I've got to do the underneath side, and then, you know, I don't know, I might do another coat on these. This is that Krylon farm implement stuff, so it should be probably a little stronger than just, you know, regular old spray paint. I hope so. But anyway. All right, so the brackets are done. I've got them painted up, they're dried, and I've got them just kind of set in place, just kind of mocked up, just so I knew which ones went where. So I've got some bolts in them, make sure they lined up, but I need to get those tightened down before we do anything else. But once we get that done, as that really famous YouTuber once said, it'll be time to knock this hammer knocker out. Something like that. Yeah. I think that is awesome. We are on our maiden voyage. Let's see, can I get the camera? Yeah. All right. I've never driven and recorded before, so this is going to be interesting. there you go, folks. That was the easiest fill up I've ever had on my own property. I couldn't be happier. Getting work done is going to be so much better now, so much quicker when you've got to fuel up. And I would totally recommend something like this for anyone out there. This was just a great solution. So now anywhere on the property, even if the tractor somehow I run it out of fuel somewhere else, right? And I'm not close to anywhere that I can fuel up. All I've got to do is hook it up to the bighorn and haul it out to it. So all around, this is just a great solution. Also, I wanted to add to this video, yesterday morning, we hit 1,000 subscribers. And folks, I'm so appreciative of you for following us. None of this was the plan. You know, I did a video a little over a year ago about putting this radio in this tractor, and I didn't really have any plans to go anywhere else with it. But I ended up at the National Farm Machinery Show, and you know, I met some amazing people there. Some of them who have just really taken me in and helped me. Tony's Tractor Adventure, Hank Hamilton, they've just been just amazing and just really just huge for me, and I really appreciate that. So, but to all my viewers, everyone that's subscribed, just thank you so much. I don't know where this is going to go from here, but I'm having a lot of fun doing this. I'm enjoying it, which I think is if you're not enjoying it, don't do it, right? Because I know I have videos coming out, it's making me get my work done, right? It's keeping me from sitting in the chair in the living room and watching another YouTube video. It's actually making me get out here and do the work. So, I mean, you know, there's an extra benefit to it, but I really appreciate it. So thank you so much for watching, and Lord willing, I'll see y'all on the next one.